India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Trinidad and Tobago on an official diplomatic mission. In a press release from the office of the Prime Minister, it stated that Prime Minister Modi's visit aims to deepen cooperation in areas such as trade, health, education, energy, agriculture, and technology. It's expected to strengthen ties between the two nations and build on a long-standing diplomatic relationship. Prime Minister Modi's visit is scheduled for July 3rd and 4th.
So Caribbean politics is getting more interesting day by day. So for the past couple of weeks, we have been talking about the Eastern Caribbean, in particular with the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves, and the opposition leader of St. Lucia, Alan Chesney, where they came out on a visit to St. Vincent from the OECS delegation, where they were talking about strengthening what the Eastern Caribbean they have been able to do for the past over 40 years. And we saw in that meeting where the Prime Minister of St. Vincent himself and the opposition leader of St. Lucia came out and said CARICOM is not working for them. And a lot of controversy came out of that, in particular with Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica and Barbados, with them stating that, look, the bigger islands, sometime, Alan Chesney said it, the bigger islands, sometime they speak among themselves as if the Eastern Caribbean islands, like the membership from the Eastern Caribbean, like they're not there. Like he said that they spoke amongst each other as if we weren't there. So fast forward now, and we're seeing the president of Nigeria visiting St. Lucia and addressing the OECS delegation in St. Lucia and talking about trading with strengthening relationship with the Eastern Caribbean, not with CARICOM, but with the Eastern Caribbean. So my question is this something that the Eastern Caribbean members knew about before? And is this, like, because of the frustration with CARICOM not working, was this something that they have been working on behind closed doors and now this is coming out? So it is very, very interesting, because what we see in the Caribbean going on now is that when the year started off, 2025, and we saw the Trump administration, a lot of chaos going on with the start of the year, the talk around the town was that the Caribbean, the CARICOM is going to be strengthened because of what is going on with America, and America, the global disruption, and countries around the world, they have been going different directions to sign new partnership. We saw Canada with the European Union. We saw the BRICS countries trying to strengthen relationship. So we thought that CARICOM was going to strengthen their relationship. But I think now we can see that that is not really happening, because what we're seeing now, we're seeing Nigeria and the Eastern Caribbean partnership. We've seen it with Dickon Mitchell, with the visit from the billionaire in Nigeria a few months ago. And now we receive news that the Prime Minister of India will be heading to Trinidad and Tobago. So Trinidad and Tobago, they're strengthening relationship with India. The Eastern Caribbean strengthening relationship with Nigeria. We see Jamaica and Guyana, they're strengthening their relationship with America. So instead of CARICOM coming together, we're seeing them strengthening relationship outside of CARICOM. And it said that India is positioning themselves to be one of the powerhouse, one of the big boys in the room, because as we see, most of the countries that are like in the big boy room are European countries and North America. But India is positioning themselves along with China and Russia and those countries, Brazil. So for Trinidad and Tobago to have this relationship with India, it is going to be very interesting to see which one of these relationships is going to work out better for the Caribbean. Is it going to be the Eastern Caribbean, the relationship between them and Nigeria? Is it going to be the relationship between Trinidad and Tobago and India? Or is it going to be the relationship that America is building with Jamaica and Guyana? That is going to be very interesting to watch. So, as I said, the president of Nigeria visited St. Lucia, and this was what he had to say, addressing the members of the Eastern Caribbean delegation, that gathered there in St. Lucia to meet the president of Nigeria.
President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, stated that Nigeria is ready to deepen cooperation with the OECS in areas such as trade, investment, health, culture, education, and climate change. President Tinubu announced Nigeria's readiness to extend its technical aid corps services to OECS countries. This initiative will provide skilled Nigerian professionals for capacity building across all sectors in the sub-region. President Tinubu also highlighted the formal establishment of diplomatic relations with St. Lucia as a symbolic bridge to foster stronger ties. He recommended that Nigeria and the OECS initiate negotiations for a formal agreement on a joint commission for political consultation, which would serve as a structured platform for broader cooperation.
In a concrete step towards this goal, Nigeria is open to exploring a visa waiver arrangement for holders of diplomatic and official passports from OECS member states traveling to Nigeria. I respectfully urge a reciprocal gesture to enable smoother movement of officials and foster closer institutional cooperation.
President Tinubu emphasized the enduring ideals of Pan-Africanism and the desire for unity among people of African descent. He affirmed the OECS as a cherished partner of Nigeria. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre welcomed President Tinubu and the chance to deepen relations. He particularly applauded the new Nigerian scholarships to the people of St. Lucia that fall in line with the government's one university graduate per household policy. The Prime Minister called for the establishment of a direct flight between Nigeria and the OECS.
We are a small island state with tourism as our main economic driver. Currently, St. Lucia hosts over 1 million tourists annually. However, we have very few Nigerian visitors. We would like to host far more Nigerian visitors and hope that the time when Nigerians discover the hospitality of St. Lucia is very near. However, there are currently no direct flights connecting Nigeria and the Caribbean. Establishing an airlink would do much for St. Lucia's tourism and the wider Caribbean.
St. Lucia's Minister for External Affairs, Alpha Baptist, revealed that he had discussions with Nigerian Foreign Minister, Ambassador Yusuf Maitamuk Tugar, on strengthening cooperation, particularly in the health sector.
Okay, so that was the president of Nigeria addressing the members of the Eastern Caribbean. And I know there a few weeks ago we saw a flight that went to, I think it was St. Kitts and Nevis. And that was a Nigerian flight that went to St. Kitts and Nevis. And we're talking about Africa, connecting Africa to the Caribbean. And I was saying that I believe that it would be impossible for any one Caribbean island to do this based on the population. But based on what we're seeing now, and it seemed like the Eastern Caribbean have managed to work well together for decades and seem to be more united than CARICOM. So there's a possibility that I'm seeing now that maybe the Eastern Caribbean region could end up being the hub to Africa, where Africa connects to the Caribbean, because I'm not seeing that right now in Jamaica. I'm not seeing that right now in Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana. So maybe there's a possibility that, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Dominica, maybe the hub connecting the Caribbean to Africa is going to be officially in the Eastern Caribbean. So sound off in the comment section and let me know what are your thoughts about the connection that we're seeing, the relationship that's going on in the Caribbean between the Eastern Caribbean islands and Nigeria. And now we are seeing that Trinidad and Tobago, that the Prime Minister of India is about to strengthen relationship with the island of Trinidad and Tobago. Sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on that. And for the final story I want to talk about is Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, in the White House, they were able to sign a peace agreement with Rwanda and Congo. And this seemed to be something that they are touting to be very historic. And I know that this would be good for Congo because Congo have been devastated for decades now. Rwanda survived. They went through their genocide. They were able to rebuild. And now Rwanda is doing very well, but Congo, not so much. And this is what took place at the White House. And Donald Trump is now being praised for signing this peace deal between the DR Congo and Rwanda. So let's take a look.
I spoke with the people on the street. I spoke with youth. They know your name. They know that our president named President Trump is working hard to finally bring peace to the country. I saw hope. They have hope now for a better day in Congo. They see what you're doing as a future, better future for Congo. And I had opportunity to sit down with President Felix Tshisekedi for an interview because I want to understand his mind, what he's thinking, his feeling about everything that your administration is doing. And he told me firsthand that for many years, many American presidents overlooked this conflict. They didn't do nothing. Even myself, I covered President Biden's administration. I pressed many times about this conflict. People are dying in Congo. This country has so much potential, but they need help because this war is destroying the country. Right. They never gave me any answer. And he told me, President Tshisekedi, that you have no idea, he's very thankful for what you're doing, for what your administration is doing. Not only him, the entire Congolese people. They see that finally they will have hope. And President Tshisekedi also mentioned at the end of my interview that when peace finally comes to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, he's thinking to nominate you as a Nobel Prize Peace because he said you deserve, you have been working to bring peace in the world, not only at the Congo, and he's very hopeful to meet you in the future.
That's so nice, boy, and that's so beautifully stated. And Caroline said, number one, she did say, and I shouldn't say this because it's politically incorrect, she said, she's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I'll say it anyway. But you are beautiful, and you're beautiful inside. So I wish I had more reporters like you. You covered Africa for a long time?
Yes, for over 10 years.
Wow.
I covered even Europe.
Okay, so that was Donald Trump in the White House, President Donald Trump, and President Trump is getting a lot of credit for making this peace deal between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And as you can see in the video with the journalist stated that, look, the president of Congo said if this peace deal should hold up, then Donald Trump would deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. So this is very interesting, and this is something else to watch out for what is going on in Africa between as I said, Congo and Rwanda. And as I stated, Congo, like Rwanda, they have been through their genocide over, I think, 30 years ago. And they were able to rebuild, like amazing rebuild of that country. But we have seen like the Democratic Republic of Congo, which was described as the richest, poorest country in the world. Like in terms of minerals, they have more minerals than almost any other country in the world, but still they are the poorest country. A lot of people are skeptical about this deal because I think what this deal comes with is like a protection deal, like America will protect the Congo in return for their minerals. So people see this as one of those deals where America is going to go in and they're going to get all their natural minerals, like minerals that's needed for like to make like electric batteries, to make batteries for phone, to fuel this EV revolution, that the Congo has like a big reserve of those minerals, and that America is going to swoop in and take all those minerals with under the guise that, look, we will protect you, but Congo is going to end up being poor just the same. That is what a lot of people think. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think that this is a good deal, a peace deal for Congo? Do you think it's a good deal and this will bring the people out of this African country, to bring them some peace, and the country can finally start rebuild and develop? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.